What's going on, my dear friends? How are you? My name is Manuelia, and you're watching the Study of Stuff podcast. A couple weeks back, I did this interview with Tommy Green of HolyName. It was on the road for a bit, did a bit of traveling, and just got done editing the episode. Let's just talk about what happened. Well, a few things happened. First of all, great conversation was had. Second of all, emotional moments were had. And our dear friends, well, maybe not our dear friends, but the internet gremlins, I don't even want to call it, they showed up. Attacks, spiritual attacks. I don't know what to make of it anymore. Have been told by a few priests that it probably is spiritual attacks. Let's go with that. Needless to say, five times, Tommy's computer for no reason whatsoever, just blop, gone, disappeared. But Tommy was a trooper, kept coming back, and we made many attempts to complete the interview. We definitely got a lot of stuff here. Good hour full of footage, or full of content, full of footage. Makes no sense, but it's okay. We got St. John Maximovich over here, making sure we're okay here now. But anyways, check this episode out. I know you're gonna love it. Bye, or not bye. You're about to continue looking at my face because of the interview. All right, everybody. We are live. My name is Manuelia, and you're listening to. Sorry, let me start that again because I also do a radio show, and I thought I was doing the radio show. I was in the wrong frame of mind. I might even leave that in there. It's so good. All right, guys, welcome to the Study of Stuff podcast. With me today is Tommy Green. Someone a lot of you have asked me to interview. How come you haven't had Tommy on? Has been a question I've had for a long time. So finally made it happen. As he nods his head, welcome to the show, Tommy.
I really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you for having me, for sure.
Oh, for sure, man. Yeah, you've been requested heavily. I see why. It makes sense for the type of stuff and content that I put out. Obviously, I do a lot of music stuff, so it kind of makes a lot of sense. Also, turns out that I used to work for, in the early 2000s, I used to work for a distribution company here in Toronto, Canada, under Sony BMG, called Red Ink. And actually, we distroed a lot of Face Down records. And yeah.
That's so cool.
I was like thinking about that. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I think we've pushed some of your stuff. And I think we even got, like, just as I was leaving, like demos and stuff for Sleeping Giant, I think, at that point.
Yeah, that was, we didn't really start until 2005, 2006.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, I mean, early 2000s was more like the homies in Death Star and some of those other guys. But like, yeah, Sleeping Giant was kind of on the back end of that. I think we started rehearsing and practicing in 2005. And then our first show was my bachelor party show, 2006. So yeah, dude, 2006, that'd be like, 2007 is when we put out our first record. That's sick, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, because Death Star, we definitely put out some Death Star. It was a distro company, of course, but also we were kind of indie. We had started like an indie record label, so I remember going to stores and pushing some of the Face Down stuff. I left in end of 2006, which I think that's when we kind of got your demo tapes and stuff like that from Sleepy Giant. So it makes sense.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I think we were on a sampler or something at that point, but I can't like quite remember. I think the record came out in 2007, but I think they were doing promo. I can't even remember. Anyways, that's cool. Yeah. I think it's really awesome. Yeah,
it was a weird time for me before we get into your story, because like I had just been introduced to this whole group of Christian metalcore, this whole scene, because like in Toronto we didn't really have a lot of that, and I didn't realize how big it was. And I remember going to the label, I'm a Christian, like I was not Orthodox at the I mean I was Orthodox, I'm a cradle Orthodox, but at that point I had, my mind was not towards Christ, so I was like, who listens to Christian metal and stuff like that? And I realized, like, going to shows and stuff, they were like packed, and I was like, okay, this is the whole new thing.
Like, this is a world that I do not know at all.
So yeah. I think we were there was a show with Bleed Through and a few other bands, And I was looked at all these Christian kids, and I was like, "What is going on here?" So flash forward to now, and I'm talking to one, and I'm in the same camp now, so it's totally different for me.
That's so cool, man. What you said you're cradle Orthodox? Like, what's your upbringing?
Greek Orthodox.
Oh wow,
Yeah. So I veered off around 99 ish.
wow,
Yeah. And recently came back.
that's super cool. I'm excited that you did that. I mean, I feel like
Yep.
that's an interesting perspective to be like, because I feel like I listen to and read quite a lot about. There's so many people from outside of like cradle Orthodoxy discovering the Orthodox faith. That's got to be banana. Well, the first church I went to in Salt Lake was Holy Trinity, and it was a Greek. It's a Greek Orthodox spot in my neighborhood. Like I live right outside of a neighborhood in Salt Lake that is called Greektown,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's like right there. And they were all like, "Are you Greek?" I'm like, "No," and they're just like, it's like so like insular. There's a huge Greek community here in Salt Lake, and so it's like it was almost like, what are you doing here? Like it was so wild to them. And I'm like, you don't understand. Like there's so much beauty here. Like this is really helping people like me. So anyways, it was cool. That's sick, man. That's awesome. That's awesome that you've come kind of back, hopefully you're finding your like real relationship and connection with Christ in that. That's sick.
Yeah, definitely. I would say I came back fully about 3.5 years ago.
Wow.
I had Father Turbo on around that time, and like I was already creeping my way back through Buck Johnson's show and a bunch of like Justin Marlar's material, and then I
Yeah.
had Father Turbo on, and he was kind of like he pushed me over the cliff, and I was like, I haven't looked back since. He's my spiritual father, and like I'm in
Oh,
good hands.
that's so cool,
Yeah,
man. He's the best.
he
He's the
truly is.
best.
He
That's so
is.
sick. Well, yeah, well, congratulations. Way to figure it
Oh,
out.
thanks. Well, enough about me. I want to hear because like I was telling you before we turn on the cameras, that I've heard your conversion story quite a bit, and I was like, oftentimes when people have like repeated it, I'm like, okay, maybe we'll talk about something else, and I'll tag a video where they've talked about it. But I've heard you describe your conversion story on 3 or 4 different interviews, one of them including our brother Buck Johnson's. And every time you add some elements to it, and it seems like, okay, everyone's conversion story is important, but because of the kind of work you do, it's so ingrained that I think it needs to be kind of said. Take it in any direction you want. Tell us whatever you feel you should tell us about how you came to Christ and how you found the Orthodox Church.
Okay, so, wow. Yeah, it's a big, would say like my, being really found by the Lord. I made some real dumb decisions when I was like, 18, 19 years old. And, it was one of those moments in time where, as a parent, like I've been a dad now for a really long time. Like my oldest daughter is 25, and then me and Chrissy Green have three, like 15, 12, and 8. And so I've been a dad like nearly longer than I haven't been at this point.
Yeah.
And I remember talking with a friend, and he said to his kids, it was like, you're going to use freedom and you're going to go out and figure out life. Like, just please don't make you're going to make all sorts of mistakes, but like, don't make the kind of mistakes that could potentially ruin your destiny.
Mm-hmm.
And I think on some level, I made it's like, that was life or death. And ultimately what ended up happening was I engaged in a relationship that was super dysfunctional and really dishonest. And it was basically like an affair. And then one of the people that was a part of that relationship ended up taking their own life.
Oh.
And I wasn't able to like come clean and be honest about it before he died.
Okay.
And so flash forward, a few years after all of this stuff goes down, I read, and there was like hardcore bands. Like there was a band called Disciple that was from Erie, Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And they had a song, and I remember part of it was Psalm 50, which is like that, have mercy on me according to your unfailing love. According to your great compassion, this can mess me up. According to your great compassion, blot out my transgression, like help me. And so I wasn't a Christian, but I would hear these like song lyrics, and there was stuff in it that was like, please help me. And then when I read King David's story, it's like the dude basically had an affair and then murdered the guy, you know. And I just remember thinking, like, I know what this is like, where you make such a horrible decision. It's so selfish. It's so dishonest and deceptive, and it's so demonic, like, and then you can't take it back. Like, you can't fix it. And then you're just hemmed up at that point. And so I just was trapped. And the Lord Jesus like showed up in my world, and I was probably, 19, 20 years old when this is happening and trying to make sense of it all. So I was in the hardcore scene, and I was surrounded by a bunch of hardcore kids that loved Jesus, and then I did not. I was one of the hang-arounds that they all loved, but I wasn't with them in it. And we were doing bands and making music and stuff, and I was just a mess. And when my life blew up, it was almost like that was where Christ found me. Mm-hmm. And my friends were watching it, and they were just like, what is going on with you? Because some of the stuff that I guess the grace that God was giving me was such that it was causing even some of my Christian friends to be like, what is happening with you? And so on the heels of my life falling apart in front of my whole community, I found out I was discovered by the Lord. I was found by him. Mm. Yo. Oh, sorry.
No, glory to God, man.
And he really like rescued me. So it just was like, yo, I didn't know you were real. Like I thought you were just like a system of control. I thought whatever. I just didn't know you were a real person. Like,
dude, you're getting like, me, man.
Yeah. Going on? Like, this is crazy. And so I remember thinking, I'm going to go back to California. I was with my daughter in Georgia, just staying with my parents, trying to like figure out what was going on with my life. And it was really me and God and my daughter. And I was just alone. And so I'm like, we're going back to Redlands. And when we get back to California, can I tell people about you? Like, I had no grateful. I was like, I didn't know this was real. Like, if she's there, I'm there. I will tell people about you if you'll let me. And so I started in classic kind of like, hardcore kid, punk rock kid style. You start a Bible study at your house or, your tattoo shop or wherever you're at. And within a couple months, there was just a whole house full of kids coming from all over. And I didn't want to do church. Like, I didn't trust church. So it was like, I didn't know how to relate to it, but it was very much like a church for a lot of these kids. And we're jumping the fence and like baptizing kids in the hot tub and then like getting kicked out and like, it was bananas. Like, the whole thing was crazy. And I'm just like, okay, like I would just talk about Jesus and then cry. Like, I didn't know what else to do. I'm like, he's real. He loves you. I don't know what to tell. And so people are just like, kids are coming around. And so it turned into a very real, like, non-denominational church in a box. Like we had shows in the building. And then on Sunday nights, we would do what I thought was like a church service, a sermon, songs, invite people to have a relationship with Jesus. That was what we did. And I did that until I've did that up until really just a few years ago. So I was doing that style of ministry and evangelism as I understood it up until probably 2018, 2019. And it had grown through the bands that I was in, through the music culture, where my Chrissy Green and me ended up making a bunch of connections with people in different parts of the world. And so at a certain point, up until just before kind of the COVID collapse, we probably had like anywhere from like 5 to 15 different groups in different parts of the world. And it was just like little rough and ugly communities of people that, in my opinion, were totally awesome, but they were maybe unseen or uncelebrated in their space. And so we did that for a while. And I was, on the road with a band that I used to be.
Oh, can you hear me? No?
Dude, that's so weird.
I'm gonna reset it. We'll do it again. Listen, so for my audience, they know this by now because it's been happening the last 3 interviews.
Okay.
For whatever reason, when I'm on the last couple of episodes, something goes wrong. So I had a panel, Father Turbo, Justin Marler, and Neil DeGray from Dirt Poor Robins, and we're talking about music. 10 minutes in, Justin Marler's power goes out in his house. Like, we lose him. Then Father Turbo's computer starts crashing and crunching. Like every episode I've been doing the last couple, I've been like this, and I don't know what to chalk it up to other than like Father's like it's spiritual warfare for sure. And I'm at this point, I'm like, we both had full service. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's going on?
So weird.
Dude, it's been nuts. I apologize. I don't even know what that was. I don't even know if I should apologize.
No, dude, don't you worry about it. It's all good, man. That's super cool.
Okay, so do you kind of know where you were at? You were talking about right, like during COVID and all that stuff. You were still doing the shows in the barns and all that stuff.
Yeah. So we were running church stuff, and we were doing. Father Turbo would remember from years ago when he was doing, a Bible study in this tattoo shop. It was like that exact same culture. It's all the same kind of style. Some dudes are in real church buildings, like Protestant church buildings. Some dudes are in restaurants. Some dudes are at their, it's like just all over the place. And we were very much like unorthodox in how we by any means necessary. We just want people to connect with Christ. Our theology supported the invisible church, the personal relationship, all the stuff. Like, we are just like in it, going hard. And at a certain point, like 2017 to like 2020 was insane. And the best way I could say it was like in 2017-ish through kind of 2018, I was involved in an online community Bible school. It was the dude that taught it was really good at synthesizing what he could understand as the best ideas throughout church history, and then bringing them to a very charismatic, Pentecostal, non-denominational audience, because in his opinion, and in mine too, a lot of the modern charismatic movement, it's like, it's not very good theology. And so he was trying to remedy a lot of bad ideas from the charismatic movement, and an emphasis on, church structure, leadership, things like that. And it was really interesting. Some of the stuff, when I think back on it, he had synthesized the fathers in a certain way. And some of the stuff that I just see as like normal Orthodox Christianity, there was trickles of it coming even from that stream. So it's really interesting. But what ended up happening was, behind the scenes, the guy that ran it was diagnosed as essentially like a covert narcissist, and he was grooming women on his female staff. And my friend Eric, that was in Sleeping Giant, and I, essentially, we like kind of spearheaded a whole bunch of conversations to try to help stop this school. When that happened, we were confronted with people in leadership and influence from within this global stream of Protestant Christianity. They wrote all the books. They had all the wisdom. They were older than us. And it was a complete nightmare, because I recognized that there's a virtue within that stream that protects the platform and the preacher over the people that get hurt. It was very interesting to see. And so that's going on. I'm recognizing that ultimately the things that I was building into, they were propped up by money, popularity, platform, politics. And when real spiritual stuff, like bad spiritual stuff, starts manifesting, it was like I was in what charismatics would call like the prophetic church. And I felt like the people that wrote the books that got us there were blind. Like they refused to see, and they were the seers. And so what's happening while that is going on is my wife, my Chrissy Green, and me, we went through a series of time where from 2018 to 21, we had 4 miscarriages, like back to back. It was bananas. It was so messed up that I was in such despair. I felt like I was connected to a stream of Christianity that was so messed up and upside down that I was like, maybe this is part of the reason why everyone's dying. Like, I was so flipped around that I was like, I don't know where I am. And I remember saying out loud to a mentor at the time from that other stream, who was a very good man, but I was just running it down with him. Like, this is what's going on. And then the second part was, I remember saying out loud, where is the authority of Christ? I was just like, this is not authority. Mm-hmm. This is popularity and platform and money and garbage. And I can do their show better than them. Mm-hmm. And this isn't real. Like, what they're doing is not real. And if this is spiritual authority, why are they letting hell run roughshod over all these things? And they refuse. They don't have. They may think they've got the badge, but they don't have the gun. Like, there's no power here. This is bananas. Like, this is so twisted. And so I just remember thinking, like, where's the authority of Christ? And that led me to this space of going, I need to figure out what Christianity actually is, or I have been a hype man for a lie. I've been a flag bearer in the subculture for a bunch of dishonest things. It's like, I'm like such a cool honor guard for a garbage movement, or I'm sincerely wrong. But like, someone's got to help me. And I remember thinking, I got to go back to the beginning. Yeah. But the beginning that I know about is Roman Catholicism. It's as an Irish Catholic on my dad's side of the family. And unfortunately, and forgive me, in me and Chrissy Green's work in counter trafficking, it was priests within the Catholic Church that were abusing survivors. Yep. So I can't do priest. Mm-hmm. I don't know history. Mm-hmm. I don't know where to look for the early church. Mm-hmm. I got to go back to the beginning, but the oldest church that I can find is the one full of a sexual ethic that I cannot align with. I don't understand where to go. And then it was like these little 2005, I'm pastoring at Tiffany, which was the church in Redlands. And I'm trying to get my heart right so I can get married to my Chrissy Green. And I don't want to bring all my baggage into it. So I go to a counseling thing. It's like an inner healing thing for Christian men, high level stuff. I mean, it was way wild. And I remember that a guy had gone through one of those weekends with me, and he called me and he said, I'd love to take you to lunch. And so I go to a Red Robin in Redlands, California, across the street from my little church. And he said, I really love your heart, man. I love your spirit. I know where you are, and I know where you're coming from. And he's like, I was in this kind of like prophetic, charismatic church, and my wife and I got married, and we did this like prophetic dance together when we got married, and it was like this whole thing. And I'm like, yo, like I love like the idea, the reality that somehow broken human people can be in a relationship with Jesus Christ, and he can speak to us, and we can feel his presence, that mystical union that is right now. And it's, like that, the mystical Holy Spirit of God was like the best thing I'd ever heard of in my life. And so he's like, I know where you are, and I get all this stuff you're trying to do. And I'm like, yo, like I was like freaking out. And he goes, let me ask you a couple questions. And I said, okay. And he goes, what's the purpose of Christianity? And I'm like, well, to become like Jesus. And he goes, yeah, deification. And I'm like, I'm like, I don't know if I'd say it like that. Like, that's a little weird for me. Like, whoa! Like, I start getting a little like on guard. And then he goes, he's like, let me ask you another question. I go, okay. He goes, do you know the name of the woman at the well? And I'm like, no, and he's like, I do. And I know where her church is. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, and so he's looking at me like, I know where you are. And I'm blowing your mind. He goes, I really think that you should explore. And I don't remember if he said the Eastern Orthodox Church, but I think he did. It was like, I need you to, and what he said was, he's like, we have all the rest of the story.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was like, so he's blowing my mind because he's telling me that there is an understanding of the rest of the world around Jesus that's outside of just the Bible book.
Yeah.
Which is right up my alley, because I'm trying to understand, even back then, how do I bring a bunch of rebellious hardcore kids into a healthy version of Christianity based on the customs and manners of the time, maybe a Hebraic understanding of like whatever. What kind of hermeneutic are we going to read when we read the Bible? Like, I need them to think, because we're not dumb, but I also want them to be winsome, and I want their hearts to be open, and I want them to believe in the fool's faith, right? So like, I'm trying to give him all this stuff, and I don't know what to do. So he says this stuff to me. He's like, you should come check this out with me, because we have the rest of the story. And I'm like, this would go to kind of where I'm at now. I think it's okay. Like, sure, maybe, who knows? We'll talk to smarter people, and they can let me know. It would have cost me too much to let go and surrender what I thought I was supposed to build as a leader in order to just become a Christian like that.
Yeah.
And I was anti-religion. I was anti-religious. I was anti the formula. I was anti the structure without the life. Anything that, like, a form without power. That's what all of this looked like to me. And so I was just like, I was really struggling. And I remember being so blessed by him, but it was not even a consideration. I was like, yo, you go to like a weird church that's in a building with all these people. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, we're not doing that at all. So here I am now, 20 years later, 14, 15 years later. I'm in the height of what I thought I was supposed to be doing. I'm an evangelistic cohort for third-year students at this Bible school. I'm releasing evangelists. I'm going all over the world. I'm preaching the gospel to hostile crowds and not hostile crowds. Like, I'm doing all the things. The world caves in, and I go, I don't know if any of the stuff I did got in here.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I don't even know what Christianity is, because it just took me all the way back. So then what comes up are these random memories of like, where did that guy say he was from?
Yeah.
The woman at the well, her name was like Fotini or something. And then I start looking online.
Yeah.
And it was like 2019 into 2020. I'm just like trying to get into this, because I'm bailing on my current tradition, but it's the only thing I've ever had, and it's nurtured an identity or a persona of me that has been good for people. Like, I'm a rescued guy and trying to be honest or whatever. Like, just, I'm trying to lead people into a real relationship with Jesus. That's what I want. I hope that when I die, he's like, yo, you were my friend. Oh. And you did good, bro. Like, you helped them see me. That's all it's like, that was it. It's like, I just want them to see Jesus. Please just see him. And then I'm in the way, and all this stuff is in the way, and I don't know how to get out of the way. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So it was very interesting to go through that time. And then in the course of that time, I'm like, well, there was a church that predates Catholicism as I understood it. Okay, well, what were they about? And the very first thing that I saw was that their priests could get married.
Yeah.
And the minute I saw that their priests could get married, but there was a space for the monastic life, there was a space for celibacy as a spiritual discipline. There was the sexual ethic all of a sudden got cleared up for me, and I was like, all right, I can take the next step. That's that was the thing. And so into 2020 and into 2021, out here at least, churches were locked down. They were trying to figure out the best place to go. I'm calling Orthodox churches, trying to just can someone let me into the church? Because I just have questions. But this is all happening in private. So I pursued Orthodoxy on the DL because my wife and I are still technically leading a parachurch organization as Protestant, non-denominational people, and it's just going all sorts of different directions. And so for me, it was I didn't know how to be honest about my process, but that's what was going on for me. So getting saved, as I understood it, led me through, and then I became. I was willing to drop everything that I had in order to find the eyes of Christ and the authority of Jesus somewhere else. And I said, I will get even more, I will embrace religion if I have to in order to be with real authority before I will keep this up. This can't work for me anymore. That was just where I was. So it's in the season of deconstruction, I feel like I deconstructed the other way as a leader. And I had to let go of what I had built over 15 years. And I had to just be willing to go all the way back to the beginning and say nothing. That's kind of what led me to the church.
A lot of what you said, man, was really powerful. I could tell, your zeal, your love for Christ, it just comes through heavy. You got me a couple times. I had to hold back, and I love that. I love that. And I think that even your story that you've told up until now, you not being ready to accept all that in your early years from the Red Robin, what'd you call it? Because we don't have that in Canada. It's Red Robin, the barn there, or the burger place.
It's like a burger place, just a
burger
restaurant.
Place. Right from that moment where you were given that little seed, and later on in your desperation because of your love of Christ, and you did want to find out if it's the real deal or if it's just a big scam. It's funny that little seed was in there, and it kind of grew, and it was there when you were ready to kind of face it and face the tradition, because everything you're talking about and needing that authority, as you put it, which is correct. You need that hierarchy, you need that structure, you need that tradition, which you could only find in something as ancient and pre-denominational as the Orthodox Church.
Yeah.
And I think it is a blessing, because along the way, you've made a lot of people in your Protestant circles follow you, look towards you, see that you're the real deal. And then as you kind of move towards this direction into Orthodoxy, they're going to continue looking at you because they trust you. They've seen you along the way, and they're like, this guy has integrity. He has value in his word. So if he's kind of moving in that direction, well, there's something about it. Maybe I should consider it too. Have you seen a lot of people kind of take that approach and ask you questions? Oh no, dude, the internet keeps flying. The demons are hardcore. Explain that to me.
I don't know.
Explain that.
That's so wild.
And right when I asked you a question like that, and the first time the question was serious, we were talking about some real. Anyways, back on track. Wow, this is going to make for some interesting
to answer your question.
Yeah,
I would say this. I remember going to my barber, and I was getting my hair cut by a homie of mine that I've known for a really long time. And I'm sitting in the chair, and another friend of mine I've known for 20 years shows up, and he's like, "Hey, Tom, are you still doing your church thing?" And I was like, "No, man." Why? And he says, dude, because you've always been on some cutting edge stuff, And my friend Zachy, who's cut my hair, he's like, this fool, he's not on the cutting edge of nothing. He's 2,000 years in the past, dude. He's not. So I would just say this, all glory like Jesus Christ is beckoning people. Mm-hmm. And like, I'm just a part of a wave of people that God is drawing. Yep. And so if like, cause it's weird, cause I actually feel like that is, oddly enough, I'm thinking, you're right. I'm not on the cutting edge of any, like, mm-hmm. I am running away from all of this innovative Christianity to just try to get with the Lord and be like, I don't care. I can't understand what they're saying. These Greek people are looking at me like I'm insane. They walk, but I know that when they walk through the building for the grand entrance and everyone stands up, I lose it. And I'm like, I can't, there's nothing for me to do. They don't care if I'm there or not, but something is happening in here, and I'm done. Like, so he says, you've always been on the cutting edge of some stuff, and I'm thinking, not this time. Flash forward 4 or 5 years, I'm watching a massive surge of people finding Holy Orthodoxy, and I just feel like, yo, it ain't me. It's this beautiful beckoning of the Spirit of truth. Yep. Just resounding, man. It's prayers that holy men and women have prayed. Mm-hmm. Jesus is going to get his people. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, it's, so I just think like, yeah, I mean, the short answer is yes. I just got a message earlier today from a kid that was like, yo, I've been following you for a long time. Can you tell me what books you're interested, you know? And I always, when that happens, I'm like, let me link you up with a couple good priests that I know. They are smarter than me. They should talk to you. Yep. And then I leave it alone. And then like 9 or 10 months later, I get the picture of them with their family being chrismated or baptized together. And I'm like, thank God, God did it. So yes, people are coming, and people that think I have any influence or can trust me. Some people are coming and they're saying I was helpful, but outside of any of us, man, like God is doing something to build his, and it's just been wild to watch, to feel like I just got to be one small little ripple, and hopefully that helps me and my beautiful wife and my kids. And I don't know what's going to happen, but like, that's kind of where I've been. So yeah, I think as someone who people can see, they're going, what's he doing? Sure. But I've just watched the church save people's lives. And I'm just like, yo, it's God, dude. It's 100% God on every level.
It's truly the hospital. And as a cradle Orthodox, like I'd been to lots of church in my early years, even in Greece and Cyprus. I'd been to monasteries and all that stuff. But recently, when I came back a couple years ago, 3 years ago, and even more recent that I've came back to Toronto, and I was at church a couple times, I've never felt having to hold back tears in my life for no reason. And like in my head, I'm like keep it together. And I'm just like, what is going on here? And I've never felt something like that in my life. And like, because when I veered off and I left Orthodoxy, I would say like late 90s, I guess you would say, I went down the road of the occult for many years. And so I've experienced and seen things from the other side, not the dark arts, but it's all dark arts, but I wasn't in it for that. But my point is, when I experienced this, I know the flip side of what it feels like on the other side of things. And then when I came back to the faith, it's kind of like what you're describing. You're sitting there in church and all of a sudden you just can't hold it back. Waterworks. And I have no way of explaining that and seeing all these people come to the faith. But I did want to say, though, yeah, it's very humble and honorable of you to say that it's not because of you. That's true. It's because of Christ and the time that we're in. A lot of people have realized there is a demonic presence. People have accepted that, and they need to find the flip side of it. And what's more hardcore and punk and edgy than actually being the true you, which is made as close as you can, is made to like the likeness and image of God. Like that is pretty edgy and tough. I mean, who would have thought back in the day the easiest way to like actually rebel, like what we thought we were rebelling when we were kids, was to like have a family, be a good upstanding citizen, and go to church and be an Orthodox Christian? Who would have thought that was like the most hardcore thing you could do?
Yeah, man. I would see the Death of the World dudes like at Cornerstone years ago and just kind of be like, yeah, I don't get it. Like if you're, it was like, to me, it was still landing as like, it was control. It wasn't leadership. It was control, right? It wasn't discipline. And so it was interesting having a meeting with, the first priest, he's a dear friend to me now. He's an amazing, I would say, like, mentor, leader in my life. Like, it's incredible. And he said to me, you kind of come from this like world of like, I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. And he said, you're missing the point.
Yeah.
I use this religion to become spiritual.
Yes.
I'm not spiritual at all. And I was just like, in all of our pursuit of transcendence, of miracles, of the presence of God, like, our thought was, if we can get in that atmosphere, we can be transformed.
Yep.
So we were using this quasi-sacramental understanding of like, if I can pray a certain way, if there's a gift or a grace for faith or healing in the room, if we participate, we will be changed too. And unfortunately, it's not. I think it's true, but
I lost him again. What is going on? I lost him again. What is going on? No explanation for this. Do you have full bars?
I got full bars, baby.
I gone again. Anything we can do? Wow. I'm leaving this in, some of this at least.
There it is.
Okay, let's see if we can make it to the end here. Wow. Wow, Tommy, you're saying some really powerful things to the point where we're getting clipped every 5 minutes. I don't know what to say. Okay, so a couple things that'll lead from that. Everything you just said was incredible. That little bit of a break, kind of, I lost track, but I kind of know where I want to go with this. First of all, is there a difference? It doesn't sound like there's much of a difference, but is there a difference in the way that you're, because what I mean by there's not much of a difference, because wait till I ask the question. It seems like that you definitely have and had a true reverence and love for Christ, which I've already said. And like, it really comes through you, like it really truly does. Even from the stories I've heard from you from the past and some old interviews I've seen of yours, you could really see it through. But coming to Orthodoxy, how has it changed how you make music in any way, if it has, going from prot to Orthodox with like HolyName now?
It's been really, really hard. Because I don't trust myself at all.
I understand.
So it's like, the presumption that I had in love, in a very loving place. My understanding was the depth and level of freedom that I had to just basically like dance all over the presence of God. That boldness helped shape a part of that sound. To realize that there was like a toxic mixture in me as it pertained to that world causes me to like back up. So I don't feel very confident at all in any of the art that we're putting out. The only thing I'm growing in is I don't need to make my art and the creativity and the songs, and even if they're like praise, I'm not trying to fill a gap because the church doesn't have one.
Yes. Well said.
So I'm like, I don't know exactly what to do because I was trying to do a lot. And now a lot of that is actually it could be damaging when you find the hospital to keep trying to redirect people. It's like, no, it's right there. So now it's more like a personal thing. And that's just been interesting. So it's totally different. Man, I want it to be so cool for people. And I really want people to still feel the beckoning of Christ and like find their space. I'm not doing the same thing with it that I was before. So I feel like I'm in a totally different world, and it's way uncomfortable. And I feel just so like it's just so much harder because I'm unlearning so much and then not wanting to be presumptuous. I don't know there was an amazing father in New York, and he was talking to me. I went to a thing in Brookline in Massachusetts for a bunch of priests were there, and I was going to hang out with my my old priest, Father Patrick, and he was putting on this event for people that wanted to become priests. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to become priest. I just wanted to know that I could trust the church, because I figured I would be a person that would draw people to the church.
Yep. Lost him again. I don't know what to make of this. Lord of mercy. Lord of mercy. This is awkward. So I'm sitting here recording, talking to myself. Hello, everyone. Welcome to SOS. This is the Study of Stuff podcast, where whenever you jump on here, some strange things occur. My conversation with Tommy has been fantastic and edifying, I have to say. Someone is getting in the way, throwing wrenches. Who is that? I ask you. Could it be the technology, just the technology? Maybe things are faulty? No. And we've used this platform time and time again, and we've never had this problem. And here's Tommy again. As I was rambling, just joking around, telling the pretend audience that this is crazy and it's weird and I have no explanation for it. Father Turbo, I think, is correct when he says it's spiritual warfare, kid. Well, he didn't call me kid. I threw that in there. Do you remember where you were at? Kind of, sort of. Oh yeah. So the differences and all that. So how difficult it is.
Yeah, the priest just said to me at this event, he had come from a Protestant background. He's been a priest for a while. And I said, I feel like I got to jettison everything that I've learned. Yeah. I all my skill set, it feels like it doesn't fit here anymore. Yeah. Right. Like everything I've spent years doing, I don't even know if it's allowed. Like I just was like, I don't know what I do. And he just said, Tommy, first things first, because I was still making my way into the church, and he goes, first things first. And then he said, it's amazing what you get to keep when you come into the church.
Okay.
And I was just like, but it's not my job to decide. So I'm just like, I'm still in the process of like, sift me, and then whatever is meant to stay will stay. But, so that goes from not only my own personal theology, what I do as like, I used to be like a preacher evangelist guy. Like I'm like, whoa. And then songs and creativity. I'm like, this used to mean all sorts of stuff. Yeah. And that's a lot. And I don't know if that's actually necessary in the same way. So God just helped me make sense of it. And that's where I'm at with it. So yeah, different, very different in me. Maybe it feels similar, but it's not the same for me at all.
I totally can relate, because I've been struggling with that for a year and a half. I'm a musician as well. And also former subculture kid too, and all that. And just in general, like I feel like I'm losing my identity, but at the same time gaining this other identity of reality, if that makes any sense. It's kind of like when you talk about like the death of the old man, and then I kind of don't know where I fit on some things, and I kind of don't really care either at the same time. It's just I just want to help out, but I don't know how to help out, if that makes any sense. And I'm afraid and when you said that you're afraid of yourself, I'm afraid of myself too, because I know I've written some songs, nothing horrible in the past, and I've moved some crowds, and I've had a little bit of a say here and there, and I'm kind of afraid of like, ego slipping in, or something takes over and kind of writes for you differently. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep. Yeah.
So recently I've kind of started getting a little bit better, kind of getting back on track. My praxis has been a bit better. Working with Father Turbo has been a blessing. And then all of a sudden, some songs will start popping in my head. And the first thing I do is I'll write down the lyrics and I send them to Father Turbo. I'm like, yay or nay? Like, what do you think? And so far, some of the songs, I don't know where they've come from. Like some of the lyrics, like I ended up writing this. Like, and anyways, you kind of seem like you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
So
it's been weird because our ministry as evangelical Protestant dudes, Sleeping Giant was a ministry as much as it was anything else. And so that is a whole big ball of complication. And we embodied our theology. So now I've got to be and Father Trenum said this to me once in Riverside. And I said, I really don't know what to do. Like, I'd gotten done doing the rock against traffic thing in Southern California. We went to liturgy the next day. He was talking to a friend of mine, and I was just like, I got to just tell you, like, he's like, I heard you guys had a show last night, and whatever. And I was like, yeah, I don't know what to do with myself anymore. And he said, well, Eastern, Orient, means east. And he's like, you're kind of being reoriented. And I was like, I was like, yo, because it just like, it's like, yeah, I don't know what direction to face. I don't know where to go, but I have all this experience and knowledge, and I don't know what to do with it. And so I'm just going, you're being reoriented, and then you'll be able to make sense of some of that journey. I just thought, thank you. Yeah, I don't have to do anything. It's just, I'm just, my vision, my focus is being redirected by God. Don't get in the way, Green. Just chill. Like, just hang out. So, so I totally get it, man. I totally get that.
It's also, someone said to me, well, first of all, like, Justin Marler privately had told me that he referred to my show as like a ministry, and I felt really uncomfortable with that, with that terminology, right? And only recently did I start accepting that to some degree. I suppose it is. I'm still not comfortable with the terminology, but I do realize that when I backed away for a bit, a lot of people were reaching out to me like, where's the show? This is where we used to meet up. We used to kind of like just chill. Because like usually my shows, we just chill, whatever. We just play some music and hang out kind of thing. And I didn't realize how much it affected, or like my audience, which is like 90% Orthodox Christians. It was just like a place for them to congregate. And I started to realize that. So like, I think that that's something you should think about as well. And kind of, I started to view myself as just some dude that does whatever I do, music or whatever it is that I'm doing that happens to be Eastern Orthodox, rather than an Eastern Orthodox musician trying to like put it out there kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? And then when I thought of it that way, it kind of simplified it for me. And I think it's important what you're doing musically and all the other creative endeavors you have going on, because we do need to have content for people like us who are Christian that don't want to be bombarded with all this garbage out there. We still need something to kind of edify us, kind of plant some seeds, like some seeds were planted for you, and kind of like give you something to consume that, isn't the normal stuff, but at the same time may not be like, a homily of someone, like leave that to the priest, but we can entertain in other ways. And I think that's an important thing.
I 100% agree. And I heard a friend of mine that said this.
No, I lost him again. He was so ready to drop some bombs. He's there, but I can't hear. I can't see him. Yo. Kyrie eleison, ti ginete, doctora para. Oh my! You were ready to drop bombs. You were ready to drop bombs, and it clipped. I could feel it. I could feel it from you. I'm like,
I can't even hear. This is so wild.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
So wild.
Can you hear me? You can't hear me. No, you can't hear me. Oh yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Can you hear me?
I'm here.
Wow,
it's you. Yeah.
Crazy. And what I was saying earlier is I could tell by the way you were going to respond that you were going to drop some crazy bombs. I could feel it coming off of you, and it clipped right off. You know what I mean? Man. Oh boy. Okay. I don't remember where we were at. That was crazy. He's gone again. Okay, let's see if we can kind of get a few things going. Get out of. Sorry. Now I'm all frustrated. Let's see if we can tie up some of the stuff, and then I don't know, kind of give into the computer demon gremlins or whatever is going on. Okay. We didn't get to talk about a lot of stuff, but definitely want to talk about a lot of the projects you got going on, and how they tie into everything we've discussed. Because I don't want to start a new subject and all of a sudden computers start crashing and stuff like that. Because I think that might end up happening again. So tie in some of the massive projects you got going on. Like you have the movie Dark Arrow. You have running against traffic, and of course your merch company and all that stuff. Can you see if somehow you can tie it all together before the gremlins get us?
Yeah, and I mean, it's just been the last 4 or 5 years, like in the background. Since all this transition, Eric from Sleeping Giant, wrote and directed his first movie and let me be a part of it, which is awesome. So I got to be in a movie, which is coming out hopefully Q1 2026, called Dark Arrows.
Okay.
2018, right around the time that a lot of this stuff started happening. My little brother passed really suddenly in 2018, and then we had all these miscarriages like right afterwards. And in the middle of all that, I was training to run across the state of Utah. And so I ran from the top of Utah to the bottom to bring awareness to human trafficking survivors and aftercare. So that was the birth of Run Against Traffic. Mm-hmm. And recently, I've asked Saint Vitalis of Gaza to be our patron saint because he's the patron saint of prostitutes and day laborers. And so I asked for his intercession because I'm like, this is like the cause, So we've been doing that since 2018. And the goal is just to help people raise funds for aftercare. Once people come out of trafficking, they need a place to go. It's a huge process. So that's going to be a long-term thing for us. And then we launched the merch business because Run Against Traffic and HolyName wanted to get merch, and it was hard. So we started Ritual a handful of years ago, and we just do that online. And we've had the honor to help people in the church. We've had the honor to do band merch and brands and all the other stuff. So if people are part of companies or businesses and they want merchandise and apparel decorated, we can do that. But yeah, so that all just happened because Run Against Traffic and HolyName was having a hard time getting good merch on time. Mm-hmm. And so we're like, we'll do it ourselves. And then that turned into a whole other thing. So so that's what we do. We do Ritual. My Chrissy Green runs that with me. And then Run Against Traffic we've been doing. And my wife wrote a really beautiful book about our story with Run Against Traffic called Many More Like Me. And you can get it. Chrissy Green is the author. Without Chrissy, there's no story because she was like a mom to this first survivor that we met. And I didn't believe any of it. So I disqualified myself from the story through unbelief and through a lot of other bad attitudes. And my wife is such a gangster that she really took this kid in. And so anyways, the story about how we got involved in the kind of counter trafficking space is called Many More Like Me. And, all this other stuff has just been gifts, right? Gifts that I've been allowed to be a part of. So that's all we do, man. So here in Salt Lake City, and then Father John from Death to the World called us like a year ago. Yep. And we reached out to him to say, hey, we'd love to help if you ever need anything. And he hit us back and was like, yeah. So we've had the really bring up Death to the World, stuff's going to pop off.
That's a Death to the World commercial right there.
So good. Yeah, that's sick. So yeah, so we do all that stuff. So Ritual does fulfillment for Death to the World. So we help with the printing and then put stuff in packages, and it's been beautiful because we get to be connected to the church, which is rad all over. So
I'll probably be reaching out to you too about that because we just started the record label and a few other things. Oh my, he just went away. This is just crazy. I think I'm gonna wrap it up.